Hi everyone, we're moving along in the budgeting chapter. We're going to do exercise 22-19 now, which is the schedule of cash payments for a service company. And service companies, just like manufacturing companies, they need to budget their cash expenditures. So the information they've given us here is Horizon Financial was organized on February 28th. Projected selling and administrative expenses for each of the first 3 months of operations are as follows. So they give us those items. They tell us that depreciation, insurance, and property taxes represent $9,000 of the estimated monthly expenses. Those expenses, the annual insurance premium was paid on February 28th, and property tax for the year will be paid in June. And then they tell us that 70% of the remainder of the expenses are expected to be paid in the month in which they are incurred, with the balance to be paid in the following month. And they tell us that to prepare a schedule of cash payments for selling and admin expenses for March, April, and May. So I've got everything up on the board here. So we're looking at our March expenses, our April expenses, and our May expenses. So the first thing that we have to do is we're going to subtract the $9,000 for depreciation, insurance, and property taxes, because those represent either non-cash expenses like depreciation or expenses that are paid at different times but then are spread out over the year. So the way this works is we'll start here first with March expenses. So that's going to be your first column, and you're going to show, we're going to look and calculate out the amount paid in March and the amount paid in April. So remember what I said. So if we're looking at March expenses, they tell us that the March selling and admin expenses are $52,400. We're going to subtract the $9,000 of non-cash or the cash was paid in other months to get total cash expenses of $43,400. I can calculate out what's going to be paid in March by taking, for March, we can multiply that times the 0.70%, and that's going to give me $30,380 of the $43,400 paid in March. So I'll put a little M there. And then if I take the $43,400 and multiply it by 30%, that's going to give me the remainder, $13,020 paid in April. So over here, I'm going to put in March, I'm going to put the $30,380 I'm going to pay in March, and then I'm going to pay $13,000 of those March expenses, $13,020 in April. And so now we're going to do the same thing for our April expenses and May expenses. So under April expenses, we're going to have paid in April and paid in May. And we're going to go through the same process that we did for the March expenses. So we're going to start out, we've got our April total expenses are $64,200. We're going to subtract $9,000 from that. That's going to give us $55,200 in cash expenses in April. I'm going to multiply that by 70% and find out that we're going to budget payments of $38,640 to be paid in April. And then for the amount here, I'll put A here. And then for the 30% that we're going to be paid in May, we're going to do 30% times the $55,000 for a total of $16,560 to be paid in May. So again, I'm going to put this into our format here. So paid in April, we've got $38,640. And then paid in May, we've got that 30% of $16,560. So I kind of like budgeting because it's kind of just like fill in the blanks, see as you go to keep track of things. Again, we're going to do the same thing for our May expenses. We're going to have paid in May and paid in, no, actually, nope, we don't have to since our budget ends in May. We do not have to have an amount for the items paid in May because we're only doing a quarterly budget. So here we're going to do our May expenses, which are $68,900. We're going to subtract that $9,000. It's going to give us cash expenses of $59,900. I'm going to multiply that by 70, and that's going to be $41,930. If you want it, if you were going further, doing a longer budget, then you would just keep calculating it out. I'm going to add in the $41,930 that's going to be paid in May. So then I can calculate out my total cash payments. Very important, because if you don't have enough cash on hand, the lights go out. So we've got budgeted cash payments for selling and administrative expenses of $30,380. In April, they're $51,660. And in May, they are $58,490. And that's how you calculate out a schedule of cash payments. Be sure to email me if you have any questions as you're working through this problem.